Okay, so if you can go to Twitter, go to my Twitter, Rob. Just a few days ago, we saw this. New York Times. Biden allows Ukraine to strike Russia with long-range U.S. missiles. With 2 months left in office, President, for the first time, authorized Ukrainian military to use the system known as the ATACMS to defend its forces in the Kursk region of Russia. This is when? This is 17th. Today is what? 19th, 2 days ago. Go to New York Times 33 minutes ago. Watch this, folks. Ukraine fired U.S.-made missiles into Russia for the first time, officials say. The attack came just days after Biden gave Ukraine permission to use the weapon to strike targets inside Russia. Now, Zelensky comes out and says, the Ukraine-Russia war ends faster with Trump. Rob, if you got the clip, play this clip. For him to be, well, I think Trump's going to do something about it. If this is not this one, Rob, it's is that the clip that you have? Or?
I do. It's Donald Trump explaining the escalation between Ukraine and
Russia. Okay, go ahead and play. I think this thing got like 60 million views. Go ahead and play it.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction.
When does this, Rob? This is yesterday?
Unmatched
yes. Okay.
in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare.
How long is this, Rob?
We will avoid it.
About 6
minutes.
We
need
okay, so you can pause it right here. Go to a clip, Rob, of... Anyways, and this story that I'm saying is the fact that Zelensky is saying it's going to end faster with Trump, and then he's going to end the conflict. This is a Forbes story that Zelensky is talking about. It was written all over the place. But Putin in October or September made a very clear comment that if you allow these guys to use these weapons against us, we'll be willing to resort to nuclear. Like, we're willing to go nuclear. Putin is saying this. By the way, we're in it right now, live, while we're doing a podcast. This is going on. So, somewhere in Russia, Kremlin, wherever it is, Putin is sitting with his handlers and his people saying, what are we doing next? Will, what do you think happens here?
So I think Biden is playing with fire, but it might not be the raging inferno we're afraid of just yet. Today on the Will Cain Show, I will have Eric Prince on. I spoke to Eric recently and asked him about this. Eric Prince is the former founder of Blackwater, incredibly intelligent when it comes to global affairs and warfare. I asked him also about the fact that North Korea is devoting 100,000 soldiers to Russia as well. Here was Eric's response to those two things. That's fodder. North Korea devoting soldiers to Russia is basically human fodder on the front lines in Ukraine. Secondarily, he said these missiles that are being used are not top-of-the-line stuff. It's not the muscle the United States could be allowing the Ukraine to fire into Russia. So maybe perhaps not the inferno that we're afraid of, but still playing with fire. Biden and the geopolitical establishment in Europe and the military-industrial complex here has a hard-on for Ukraine. They just simply do. And this is one of the biggest reasons the American public wanted to bring in Donald Trump. I have full faith that the negotiator, the strong man, the clear leader that is Donald Trump will be able to keep this from metastasizing into World War III. I think Putin knows it. I think Zelensky knows it. And I think we're headed towards a peace deal, hopefully even before Donald Trump takes office. Because as Tom pointed out earlier, the dominoes are falling. The world sees the next step for the United States, and people are from Lunchables to Russia. They're getting the world in order.
So I know what Eric says, the fact that, hey, these are not the best missiles. We're not using our best, all this other stuff. Go optics. Your name is Putin. There's power plays going around the world. You have to seem strong in front of your people. 2 days ago, Biden's giving permission. 2 days later, boom. The headline says those missiles have been fired.
And that's why he's playing with fire.
That's the point. So Putin doesn't care if it's a 1990, the highest, latest 2024 that they just build with the highest technology, whatever. Putin doesn't. All he cares is you gave him permission. He took advantage of it. During the time that we have a president-elect Trump, this is your last 60 days that you're doing this, no problem. Tom, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, Russia's been fighting mostly a ground incursion strategy, right? You take a look at it, it's moved the line because this has been a let's take their land war from the beginning, right? I mean, Crimea and everything like this in response to and spurred by Ukraine possibly joining NATO and all those things. So it's historically, that's my frickin' land, and NATO is going to make them join. No, I'm not having that. So this has been a land war. This has not been we're going to drop a bunch of crap on Baghdad, make a point to Saddam Hussein, and then go home and then let them rebuild their country. This is a land grab. So he's been doing conventional. And what he hasn't done, even though you've seen the devastation in cities that have been along the way, he has not gone to you see pictures today of major population centers in Ukraine. They look like New York, right? They look like New York. They're largely untouched. He hasn't hit them. And what I worry is what you say, is that he's got to make like a statement strike, that he's got to come back with a statement strike. Like when, what did they try to do they launched in the Hezbollah, and with support from Iran, they launched like 200 missiles overnight, 200 rockets overnight, and they tried to make that statement, and they killed a bunch of ducks on farmland. Yeah, but they were trying to make a statement about all these. To your point, he's got to make a statement, and the concern is, what is he going to do to make a statement that I'm still strong and not to be screwed with? While I believe the world waits for Trump to take power, because this wasn't the most high-tech stuff, but there's an optic that's not good for Russia.
I mean, how about this? Anything with somebody threatening a nuclear attack, to me, it's already a red flag. We're talking about, we were warned about Trump doing all this. They're doing it. And that the headline, I think, is misleading. Joe Biden, blank, blank, blank. Joe Biden, as we all know, hasn't made any decisions since he's been in, okay? And this is why it's so important about the cabinet that he's picking, Will. This is the most important thing, because who's going to be Mark Rubio we're talking about. Anthony Blinken is in front of a camera 3 days ago going, hey, guys, we got to get $8 billion to them before January 20th. They're rushing the money. These guys are in charge. The Blinkens are in charge. They're the ones that are responsible for the 13 dead American soldiers in Afghanistan. These are the people, the Tulsi Gabbard. Like, who's the person that's in right now? Avril Haines? All the spy balloons, all the Russia. How did they not anticipate all these attacking and everything? Meanwhile, you know where Joe Biden is, Pat? He's in the Amazon dressed like Crocodile Dundee. Have you seen what all this is happening? Look at Joe Biden. Is this a movie scene? Look at this guy.
Where his shoulders go?
Look at look at the lighting. Everything is good. This looks like a joke. It looks like look at this. You think that guy's making the decisions? It's the Tony Blinkens. It's the Jake Sullivans. It's all these people that are making all these decisions last minute.
Where's he walking to?
Where the hell is he going? That's Crocodile Dundee.
You know what it is, though? Think about, Vinny, this is kind of weird to me. And let me tell you why. Let's just say you and I were enemies. Okay? And I come out to you and we have dinner, me, you, and your wife. Okay? And now it's like, hey, we're laughing, we're having a good conversation, all good. Hey, bro, listen, I know,
we hate each other.
You took my job 4 years ago, and I'm coming back, and I'm not really taking your job, so you should have stayed in it, but they kind of took away your job, and I just beat this other person. But, bro, it's not fair what they did to you. It's kind of effed up. And but listen, respect to you, 45 years you gave, awesome, lots of respect. And I'm leaving. I'm in my plane. I'm going to a UFC fight to go hang out with John Jones and Dana White and everybody else.
Yeah.
And then I hear the next day, while I'm talking about we're going to create a peace treaty and we're going to make Ukraine and Russia get along, you're now given the green light for them to do that? Then 2 days later, Ukraine actually executes on your permission that you gave me. Then I'm Trump coming out and saying Joe Biden is about to cause World War III. What happened to that meeting that we had? So this makes me a little bit uncomfortable to know what the hell just happened. Yeah. I thought we had a good conversation together. So this is either a few different things to me. It's either one, what you said, Joe's not doing it. Everybody else that's in there is making a decision. They're saying, hey, let's sell a few more missiles. Let's cause a little bit more of this that's taking place. Two, maybe, just maybe, Biden is trying to intercept of this war being done early by him getting ahead of it, so Trump doesn't get that victory. How? I don't know how you go about doing it the way that he's trying to do it right now, but it makes me very uncomfortable that it happens the day after you and I visit, 2 days after you and I visit, and I thought we had a cordial conversation together, and then you come out and do something like this?
Or C, provoking an escalation from Putin that denies Trump the ability to negotiate a peace on the war they want to continue in Ukraine.
But let me tell you how that works. A guy like Trump is not going to worry about that. Here's how guys like Trump are wired.
But we're trying to get to Biden's motivation from that meeting.
I totally get it with you, but what they don't understand is Trump is already probably talking to Putin.
Yeah.
And their camp is already talking. And he's already talking to Zelensky. You better believe they're having those conversations. So they're probably saying, dude, Putin's probably saying, dude, this guy's going to get in. What the hell is this other guy doing? Get out of the way. What are you doing? What are you doing with all this stuff right now? So I don't know. By the way, if this shit backfires and Putin's in a meeting right now and he's sitting there saying, you know what? I've had it. Light those people up.
Yep.
Light them up. If he does, guess whose hands that blood will be on? Biden and all his
Blinken's.
war, all
Yup.
those guys that want this, they're going to have that blood on their hands, not anybody else. In 2020, I'll never forget, we're doing our podcast. We had 47,000 viewers. Concurrent viewers, we had 6,700. We're at the office. We leave. I go home the next day. News comes out. Biden's probably going to be the president. Of course, it takes a few weeks. Everybody around me is panicking. What's going to happen? COVID, Biden, what are we going to do? We step back. We put a plan together, and the last 4 years have been the most ridiculous 4 years of our lives because we sequenced everything out. 15 moves, business, personal life, finances, all of it. Now that Trump's president, that same strategy that worked in 2020 should be different than the one we have in 2024. Tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm hosting a webinar called the No Matter What webinar. Tom and I will be sharing with you guys what we're planning on doing the next 4 years, and some of the strategies that you ought to consider doing as well for yourself the next 4 years, especially when we're coming down to business planning season. Right now it's November 19th. January 1st is going to be here like in the next 6 weeks. And those of you guys that got big plans in 2025, planning starts now. Go to vtwebinar.com, vtwebinar.com. Put it in your calendar. It's only 5,000 people that can be on. We don't have it more than 5,000 people. We'll start at 6 o'clock. I'll give a PowerPoint presentation to you guys, and then we'll go from there. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.